It's Chris, Liege Games. Let's do this. The month of November. Again, it was kind of a little bit of a, if you will. But that's okay. That's okay. A couple surprises, a couple last-minute twists here on the crowdfunding side of things, and a relatively ho-hum what did I play month. It just kind of was. I don't know. How was it for you guys? Nothing terribly, like, over the top, which is good and bad in the same time. So, you know, take that for what it is. So, let's just go right into it. I'm just going to be talking about things I backed in the month of November, things I didn't back in the month of November and why, and then what I played in the month of November in terms of a top 5 things that I played. And it's going to be a little bit of an interesting list because there's going to be some new things on there, but there's going to be some things that you have heard me talk about in the past if you're familiar with the channel at all, in terms of I really like this. Well, does it stand up to the test of time? Well, let's talk about that included in there. And yeah, that's pretty much month of November, right? Yeah, I think so. Let's go. Oh, and I guess we should probably say, like, you know, if you like this, subscribe, please help me get, I'm trying to break 5,000 by the end of the year. It won't happen, but help me get there anyway. So first up, Senjutsu. You know, I put out the video that was kind of back and forth on it. I went for it. I went for it because of the other 2-player battling type things that I have been doing lately. I like the idea. I like the concept. It worries me because as we go over to the campaign page here, I just got the early bird. I am not sure that I don't need all the deluxifications, but the early bird pledge was worth it. So maybe I'll sell those off. I don't know. But the thing that worries me, despite all of the extra stuff that you're getting and the exclusives and all of that stuff, is like the 7 different modes that they have. I'm just kidding. I'm being facetious. But the multiple different modes worry me, and just trying to do everything. Trying to have all of these different expansions, all of these different mechanics, still stuff being movable, adaptable, changed within the campaign. And I like people being responsive to critiques and criticism, but I don't like people bending over backwards for backers, because otherwise you just see entitled backers hoping to get the grease as the squeaky wheel, if you will. And this is a lot of money for a 2-player battler. I just spent $50 to get all of 7th Cross Exceed this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, whatever it was, for Black Friday, 3 weekends ago, I don't know, whenever this video is going to air. And a third of this, less than a third of this, for Exceed, which is a proven commodity. And that's what worries me, because you've got these miniatures thrown in. And that's why I'm not sure what I'm going to do with some of these other expansions. And let's break it down here in a little bit in a second, if I can find the expansions through all the unlocks. I don't even know what these unlocks are. I didn't even look at these unlocks. I just said, okay, well, this is a good deal at the early bird deluxe pledge. That's all. So here you get into the add-ons. I will probably look at these much more detailed, but again, 2 characters for $25, that's a lot. That's a lot. And look at this. I mean, you're getting into the other stuff. I don't need ink dropped, a t-shirt, whatever, you know? So what? You've got one of these solo ones for 14, then 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5, so $125 for that. Well, yeah, I mean, you are saving a few bucks then, but do I need all of these? Do I want all of these? Do I care about a sailor and a monk when I can get an assassin and an ashigaru, whatever that is? I don't even know what these 2 are. I don't have any interest right now. These, I don't know what you're calling. And then these are legends. I guess that one might be appealing, or this one maybe. I don't know. It's just kind of all over the place. And I'll be completely frank on this side of things. Like, I didn't look at these expansions as reasons to back. Like, I'm not a completionist on this because I'm hoping that some of this is enough. And again, I would just want more in the base game than 4 miniatures, right? 4 characters. Like, give me like 6 or 8 in the base game if I'm going to pay $80 for this. So that's the only thing. I don't know. Maybe we did this. I wish somebody, you know, and I'm looking at these stretch goals right now. You know, Hunger Gamer got it. You know, maybe I should have somebody that does my preview videos and get, you know, subscribed or, you know, views for videos for that. I can't even get anybody to put me on their page. So who am I talking about? Anyway, but yeah, I went for it. I went for it. Is it going to be a big hit? I don't know, but I think it's going to be solid enough that I like this style of game. So if I don't get everything, again, I probably won't be a completionist because I don't really want to pay $165 in the Pledge Manager. Again, all of the ability cards, all of the other stuff, I wish it was just standees, and I wish the early bird pledge was lower because you could get standees that are going to functionally be exactly the same for a cheaper price, acrylic wise. I mean, Vagrant Song, for example, or any of the other ones that put out standees just cardboard wise. Be completely happy with that. Adventure Tactics. There you go. So that was one. I only backed one other game, and this was the last minute. This is going to surprise some of you guys because this one came out of nowhere. I had my eye on it, and this brings up a whole nother discussion because now I've had 3 of these recently in the past month and a half where I've had campaigns be like, oh yeah, we've sent you this game and we're sending you a copy to play. And then a week go by, and then 2 weeks go by, and then 3 weeks go by, and okay, just checking in. Oh, it's on its way. It's on its way. It's just kind of, and then it never shows up, which is just weird, and are people too polite? Like, I wish if they just didn't want to send me it to play it, that's cool. Like, hey, sorry, we can't send it. Hey, sorry, we're not going to be able to get it to you. Hey, we don't want to send it to you. Completely okay with that. I'd rather get that than, hey, it's coming. 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 Radio silence. It isn't there. Anyway, though, power plants. I backed this. Kids Table Board Gaming. I went in on this one. I have the Kickstarter edition right here. This is going to be something that's going to be very interesting. Now, again, it's wooden shapes, wooden sprites, but you're getting all of these different exclusive, like extra different types of tiles, and there's something like 10. And it's not as area control may be size-wise here in the title. It's more tile laying, and you're activating either one big power or all the little ones around it. And I watched actually Rado's gameplay. I didn't listen to his final thoughts. I didn't do anything of that, but I watched how it evolved and it enveloped and it unfolded on the actual gameplay, and I liked the actual idea of the concept of that. So I went for it, and again, the wooden for 55 Canadian folks for all of this stuff is a very good deal. And so I went in on it. And if you can get the late pledge right now, I would still recommend it because I think you're going to get your money's worth easily on this one. And I think this one easily is resellable. Again, I did not do it at all from that side of things whatsoever because this is a game I can see myself, my wife playing, the game group playing, my kids being able to play eventually once both of them can read fully. But you're getting also these mini expansions, and again, you're just getting everything else. So it's something that with all of these stretch goals, this is the one I actually looked at because this, just like Fall of the Mountain King, is a good deal, is a good game. There's not a whole lot of question of what the game is going to entail. I mean, look at that. You're getting all of those different mini expansions, 10th tile type. Again, it's just, it's going to be all there. I have no questions about it from that side of things. It's just how big of a hit is it for me from that side of things. And this one, I backed this one with like less than 2 hours left. I want to say even maybe less, maybe like half an hour left, because this one was really down to the wire. And I think this one's going to surprise a lot of people when it comes to backers side of things, whenever, like, I don't know, the end of 2022. I don't even look at those things. So what does they say? November 2022. Okay, so yeah, if you're lucky, if you get it by Christmas next year. So there you go. Those are the only 2 things I backed in the month of November. I think this actually ended in November, didn't it? I don't know. You know me. I don't pay attention. November 18. I was right. Okay, good. So what am I not backing? What pledges did I cancel and have before? One was Pathfinder, and Pathfinder's still ongoing at this point when I'm filming this. It's gone down. It's gone down, actually. Now here, going over to Kick Track here for a second, you can see, now it might be hard to make out here. Maybe I'll blow it up for you guys, but this is actually downward trending since about day 3. The daily data actually reflects that as well. If you look at this, the backers per day, they're relatively, but the pledges, are a negative almost every single day except for day 3. So that's very interesting for a project of this caliber. I think it was about expectations. People looked at this and they said the price point, and that's, I think, the biggest trouble with this campaign. The price point for the adventure pledge, the core plus stretch goals, is $114. Now, they just included the standees, but the standees is still $97. So that's not really that big of a difference, although that includes both of the expansions and the traps expansions. So I guess maybe that's actually pretty good because the same bundle with miniatures is going to cost you, what, $187? Or what, the early bird, that was the other thing, $170. So, or $159, whatever it was. But still, I mean, that was the other big turnoff, is you have a lot of these people that are, early birding, and I don't know, but I would be interested to see how many of these early birds dropped too. 570 there, and only 24 down to here. So it's an interesting concept. Like I said on my video, a couple of the mechanisms are really unique. I like the shifting board as much as it is, and as gimmicky as it seems to people, it really does work in terms of the shifting as well as the twisting of the tiles. And I really like the ability to swap your abilities between this and the cards themselves. But just the rest of the game didn't really click as much for me. Needed more abilities, needed more interaction, felt like you were just racing to get these statistics, felt like it should have been 3 rounds instead of 4. As I said in the video, it felt like a game that you just needed to start out stronger. Like the first round is going to be the same for everybody every single time. And you're not getting enough bad guys. And I think that's what all of the stretch goals were the things that I said you just need more of that in the core game. More bad guys, more abilities, more heroes, because I think there were like 4 that I had, and then there's like 10 total bad guys out of 14 that you're using every single game. And it's not a bad game, but the projections, the estimations, and the knowing your crowd just seemed to be a little bit off. And then they started spacing out the stretch goals a little bit, but not too bad after they hit 100, and then it just kind of fell. And they could have switched to daily unlocks. We saw this with Simon when they hit the wall, when they hit the proverbial True Vang Legends wall. They switched to daily unlocks to keep people interested, and we have not seen any adaptation. I think too much. There's 23 updates, so I'll be frank. I'm not up to date on all of them since I backed and canceled a while ago. But the standees was the one that was the most notable. So again, I don't know if standees are the stopgap, because everyone says they like standees. Nobody besides me backs standees. And that's still an expensive price for standees. Although, again, you're getting the 3 expansions with it too. So, again, I think it's about perceived value more than anything else with this game. And the perceived value was not initially there after the early bird. And what I would have concerns about is with how many days left? 7 more days left. You could see this go down even further with more of the early bird people feeling like it's not worth it even then at that point as well. So, again, I just couldn't do it. The other one that I was backing that I canceled is Heroes of the Shire. Turn-based RPG unique combat system. Tons of heroes, tons of characters. Thought this was going to be more of an RPG cooperative, face down like Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger sort of game with the way they were describing it. But the more I looked into it, it really seemed more like a slightly more complex Dice Throne. And it was really being the head-to-head, 1-to-1 or 2 versus 2 from that side of things, when I'm really looking for something more cooperative in this sense. And there was something extra for the cooperative, and you're talking, over $100, I believe, for the combined. Let's see, because they had the weird 2 boxes or 1 box. So 1 box is like $80, but then combined is $106. $106. For something that's head-to-head Dice Throne-esque with very little actual video of how it's played, was just a little bit, I'm not comfortable backing that at that price. Again, I love the variety here, and some of the abilities look really cool, but it also seems like you're just attack, and whoever does slightly better combo first wins. And this is one I'd really have to try before I would be willing to buy this, especially because the arena and the teams and the free-for-all is exactly of the ilk of Dice Throne, and Dice Throne is already pretty established. And so if you're going to go head-to-head, you got to say, why do this instead of your competitor? The true co-op, the one versus many. Again, the problem was they adapted some of the things during the campaign based on criticisms, which, again, I think were actually positive changes, but there was very little information on just the 1v1, 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 slight scenario, solo mode. I just didn't get a good sense of, as well, each of these boxes has a certain enemy, and you go boss 1, boss 2, boss 3, but it's the same boss 1, boss 2, boss 3. It sounds like there's not going to be cross compatibility between like the ice and the fire, so you couldn't take like the earth boss 1 and put it in the fire boss 1 and swap them like that. And so the main change would be, okay, well, I'm going to fight these 3 same bosses. I'm going to explore the land a little bit differently because they've adapted now the change in the tiles, because you were going to have to put the tiles down in every single area the same way first originally. Now they changed that, which is good, again, like I said, But it seems like more of the variety is going to become with the heroes on that side of things, of how you combo the heroes, but you fight the same monsters every single time you play the fire and every single time you play the earth. And again, I don't know if that would be as fun or as lasting for a game that's $106 before shipping. So it seems like a really cool thing. And if I got sent it as a review copy, I would totally be all over it. Because again, I think they've got some really cool powers. I've checked out some of the powers between these and the hero abilities and the combos of the hero boards. I mean, like, I would love to be a blood mage or a warlock or an illusionist. I mean, some of these are really up my ilk, but I just can't justify it from that right now, especially when I just back something like power plants for less than, half the price. There you go. So now that we've talked about what I backed, what am I currently backing? Actually, let's do a side trip here. Games I am on the fence about that are not yet backing right now. First up is Mindbug. I don't know. I have a feeling I may get the upgrade pack because I kind of like this game. It is completely different. It's completely everything overpowered, but it's also completely frustrating at times too. So I could see myself going either way with this one. It really is an intriguing concept. They're doing things a little bit backwards with some of these powers, like a 3 power that takes out things that are super strong, a 9 power that can't be blocked by anything lower than a 7. So, I mean, it just brings things around in a slightly different twist that's just creative enough to not replace anything on your shelf, but to stay on your shelf in terms of things that you're going to enjoy every once in a while. I mean, this isn't going to be a staple you're going to pull out and play, 20 times in a month, but 3 or 4 times in a night in a row as a filler with 2 people, absolutely. So I could see myself going either way on this one. 6,400 people are already getting it, so I could see, my pledge going either way on that side of things. The other one in this ilk is Harakiri. I don't know. I don't know about Harakiri. The more I think about it, I really do like the adventure phase. Check out my video if you want. I really liked the adventure phase in that because it felt progressive. It felt like you were doing stuff, stomping out evil, bigger picture, getting stuff done, quicker to play. The exploration phase is the exploration phase. It's a dungeon with distinct paths that you can take, going down different routes, and it has carryover from the adventure phase, which is why I think the adventure phase is more of the standout, even though apparently, I don't watch other people's videos on this, other people didn't like it as much. But I thought it made you have ramifications. So that would be the other side of things. And apparently, if you missed my video, like I apparently had a really old copy of the rulebook, and which is why I critiqued the rulebook that they gave me. Because it was like the alpha version, and the one on here is like beta 6 times later. So what do you do with that? I get the older copy and I say it's bad, and then it gets put out that it's something different. So it is what it is. And again, it's got a bunch of stretch goals. The all-in gameplay, I mean, I don't worry about the deluxe. I don't care about the deluxe. I don't care about the early bird, whatever. This is the pledge that matters right here. It's the all-in gameplay. Yeah. So that's the one that's really going to go either way. Didn't miss anything out, but for $226, it's more expensive than I was thinking. And I just, as much as I like the concept, as much as I like the adventure phase, I love the enemies and I love the AI because it's really straightforward to play the bad guys. It's not difficult. At half the time, that's the difficulty, is it's too complex narratively, mechanically, AI-wise to remember all of the nuance. And so I give them a lot of kudos for going a little bit simpler there. Again, do you need both expansions? That'd be my other concern of having additional stuff that you need. And this was stuff I think are in here. Now, I don't need necessarily more blacksmith cards unless these are character specific. So I can't speak to that. Again, I haven't been following because I'm not backing right now. But more characters is what this game needed in the core pledge. And so you're seeing a little bit of that right there. Now, this is Act 2, Act 1 and 2, market. You don't need more market cards. You needed more individual armor cards, more abilities, more of everything like that, it just would significantly benefit from. And they've adapted a lot of the criticisms, it sounds like, that myself and apparently other people had that were very similar in terms of some of those limitations. So again, being responsive is a relatively good thing. But again, it's a ton of money for what it is. A ton of money. And it's because it's miniature driven. So it is what it is. Again, enemies, great. Dice rolling, great. Initiative, great. Kami powers, great. Exploration, it's just a little too much for me, I think, overall, going back and forth, table space wise. Because the question in a game like this is, am I going to play it over something else? And right now, I don't know. I have too many of these not played already. And that's probably the biggest barrier, and that's probably why I am on the fence with Harakiri. And then I was looking at Weather Machine. No, I'm not. I'm not looking at Weather Machine at all. I mean, this is going to be a great game. People are liking it. It's going to break $1 million. I mean, it's got 12 days to go. I know nothing else about it besides it's heavy Euro. I haven't looked at the mechanisms. I haven't looked at the 8 updates that are out there, or the 12 FAQ things that are answered. But I thought I'd just tease it. So what am I actually backing right now? First up, Bestride. And you guys hear me spout this. You guys hear me say this on the weekly updates if you tune into those at all. I always talk about these Japanese indie games. And I'm backing them right now. Right? I'm backing them. Bestride. One of my contacts on Twitter, on Board Game Geek, she is heavy in the Japanese theme of things. She lives over in Japan, and she has a lot of info, and she confirmed that this is going to have English pay stubs, which I'm a little less impressed with, but it's a really cool concept, and it's $32. It's just completely different. It's a battle royal combat game where you're moving cards on the desk to fight. Doesn't that sound like fun? It's like dexterity game with cards. That's what it is, right? Obstacles, unpredictable erupting volcano, and ring cards. I mean, shooting ranges, magma cubes. I mean, this screams Liege of Games randomness, the chaotic controlled master of the tabletop. You can call me that in the comment section. But that's why, I mean, look at this. It goes that way. You're directing it. I mean, this just seems cool. And I have a feeling I'm going to keep this one. So, because again, I don't think you're ever going to be able to get this one on the secondary market. I don't. So, with it being confirmed in English, just check it out yourself. Surviving player wins. That's it. Because I can't describe it. I mean, you can read it yourself here. Again, it just seems like a really cool concept. And I'm really excited by it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Magic Sword Tactics. This is the one I'm on the fence about because this is a solo game. I was backing this before like a month ago and it failed its project. So they relaunched it as a print and play. And now there's 26 of us. And so most of us are getting, I think, the print and play. And actually, no, it's about 50-50. I'm getting the printed game. And the print and plays are, split between, print and play data, the printed game here. So getting both and just the print and play. So it's relatively evenly split. But it's a solo tower defense game. And that's the only thing that gets me is it's a solo game. I don't think it's anything like massively different, but it just seems the aesthetic, the gameplay is slightly different. And again, it's going to be mostly language independent in terms of the cards, it looks like. So it's just going to be mostly the rules that are English. And again, you can check it out here. The magical upgrading weapons, how you spend your cards, how you defeat enemies, how the different groups come. And so again, I think it's just something cool. Again, I need to watch the actual video and read a little bit more onto this one. But I could see myself very well going either way. So printing at a printing company. Are we at 150,000 yen? Ooh, we're not. So am I not going to get my printed copy if we don't hit that? I didn't actually see that down here. So, man, I hope so. I need to look at that. But anyway, I'd really like to get it, but I guess they probably have to have enough copies to actually do it. Yeah, so, again, it just seems kind of cool. It's probably not anything revolutionary, but I could see myself going either way on that, and I support these small ones, especially from Japanese indie game designers, because that's the only reason we're going to get more in the future. So there you go. Along those lines, 9-minute kingdoms. Build your own kingdom, 9 minutes. This one's blown it out of the roof. Again, I support these small ones. Again, am I going to keep it? I don't know, because I backed this on a whim. It's $11 for the all-in, and it just seems like a cool card game. It is just building like a little 3x3 grid of your own, and there's a couple edict cards, kingdom cards, 5th player cards, dragon cards, and subject cards. So all you're doing is you have the edict cards that get put at the top of the table. Everybody gets 10 cards, and then you pick it and you put it down. The game continues of playing the 9th final card. That's it. Because it's a drafting thing as well. So putting them down adjacent, and your kingdom, sort of King Domino-esque, has to do that. So 10 cards, take one, put it down, draft them, different rules. It's like King Domino with cards, only slightly better, I'd say, and slightly more complicated because of how you're connecting those, and just slightly cooler to me. Is it going to replace things? No. Are you going to be able to get on the secondary market? Probably not. Are we getting a whole bunch of cool stuff here? I think so. Now, 3,000 euros, that's awesome. I would love to get dragons. Are we at 3,000? Yeah, we're at 3,000, aren't we? I'm not even paying attention to my own page here. 10,000, we get a scoring board. And 12,000 euros, we get that. So, how many euros are we at? 7,000. Okay, so we're getting up there. So that's cool. We're going to hit it. 12 days. I can see myself keeping this. I criticize routinely, like, don't buy just for the sake of buying. Don't buy cheap games because they're cheap. Buy cheap games because you like what they're presenting to yourself. And this, I like what it's presenting to me. So that is why I am backing it. Last but not least, Borderlands. The more I think about this, it seems more in the lines of a game that is IP first and necessarily gameplay second, especially with the lack of videos down here and the lack of stretch goals getting spaced out, and only the learn to play video. There's the rulebook, which I haven't really looked at too much, and it's got this dice system, which I'm not really sure how I feel about either. So it's skirmish. Now it's cooperative. It's fully cooperative. That's probably the most attractive thing for it, that sets it the most apart, that people have not been necessarily amping up as much. The big criticism that's going around is that if you get $85 right here, the only other pledge level, you don't get the stretch goals, which again, I don't know why you would even back just the core copy of a game on it anyway. And again, I don't know why 168 people are doing that, but I think people are making a mountain out of a molehill right now. You either get this pledge or you don't. So they're essentially offering one pledge, and that's fine. I don't know if you need everything else. I mean, this is including the expansion too. So really, you're paying $50 not for the stretch goals, like people are shouting from the rooftops on like social media and Twitter and stuff. You're paying $50 for the stretch goals and the expansion, which in that case, it's actually not that bad of a deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. A bunch. You're getting a bunch of stretch goals, and you're going to hit a bunch more because it's going to maximize the IP usage. The only question is whether or not it's going to be a good enough game underneath it. Looking at the video game side of things, as you've heard me shout from the rooftops, and I will make my New Year's declarations at the end of the month, beginning of January, of what I think we're going to see in 2022 in terms of trends. The number one thing on that video is going to be this: more video games translated on the tabletop. We will see more of them. We will see more of them. We will see more of them. And this is prime example. We don't even know this is good, and it's going to break $1 million by the time this video airs. There you go. But yeah, I'm probably going to cancel it. But it's at least making me think about it a little bit more than I thought. So now we're going to go into the 5 best games that I played in the month of November. Number 5, we're going to go right back to Harakiri. I don't think I need to say much else if you watched me blab about it a few minutes ago. But, I mean, it was the 5th best. I didn't play a ton this month, but don't get me wrong. It's solid. It's very solid, especially the adventure phase. And if you like what it's throwing out there, I don't think you're going to be disappointed because there's enough known about it at this point, again, that it's not going to be a huge mystery of what it is, except for maybe the expansions and the secret boxes, whatever they're doing along that side of things. Number 4 is actually For Glory, with the Champions expansion and the second printing. This game, I don't know how this one flew under the radar, but this is a very, 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 very good deck builder. And it's weird because it's a 2-player deck builder, which I didn't think was going to work, and I had my doubts on, and it's sitting right next to me on the cushion as I'm filming this. It's a good game. It's a good game. I have no skin in the race. They're not sending me anything else at this point, and they're not even probably aware that I'm talking about it at this point, but it's a great game. If you like deck builders, it is a step up. And probably the biggest thing for me is that it's just a little bit too complex for my wife. And she is my main gaming partner in 2-player games. And so that's my biggest problem. It's a little bit too complex for her as a non-waist deep hobbyist board gamer. But for hobbyist board gamers, it's going to be a great game if you like the deck building aspect, because there's a lot of control with this game that you can have. A lot of mitigation, a lot of control, a lot of picking and choosing your strategies and how you want to maximize one of the 3 different areas or markets that you're going to be drawing from and utilizing. And the battles in themselves really seem to work, and how they mitigate both the battles and when you're in the head or you're behind. It just works. And that's why it's number 4. Number 3, we're just going to go right back to Mindbug. I mean, I can't, as much as I don't necessarily love it, I also can't get it out of my head. And so that's why. I mean, because it's easy to play, you're boom, 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 you're done. And you kind of want to play it again because you're kind of like, darn it, I should have done this. Darn it, I should have done that. I could have done this if I would have done that. Let me try again really quickly. Oh, we're going to play a whole different game because I got a whole different set of cards because I only get 10 cards to start off with, as the whole game sort of like a Res Arcana, only, you know, dueling game instead of engine builder. So again, it's number 3 for a reason. It's beating out those other things because it really is that solid. It really is. It's not going to be for everyone. It's probably going to disappoint some people if you don't know what it is going in. It's more in lines with Epic and that side of things, but it's probably a little bit more nuanced and even more streamlined in a good way than those other competitors. Number 2, I played Marvel United. We played it like 4 times in a row with my brother and sister-in-law one night, and we just had a lot of fun. We won like 1. We literally, I cannot even believe this. You guys won't believe it at all. We lost on the second turn of the game against one of the villains. I forget which villain it was. It was one where everybody, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like the perfect storm scenario. We looked at it, and it was like, oh my gosh, we just lost, didn't we? We just lost. And we quickly got rid of that villain and went to another one. I can't remember what it was. If I do, I'll put it in the title above because I don't want to waste time looking it up right now. But it was the most incredible, ridiculous thing, and we all had a good laugh on it, and we'll be talking about it probably for a couple months. But again, we just love it. And it's difficulty-wise, it's for all those people that are talking about it being too easy, you clearly didn't play against some of the advanced bosses, and you clearly never played with some of the harder modes of taking some of those wild cards out in the first place. I am so excited to get everything X-Men, although I didn't get everything X-Men. I probably should have. I'm probably going to regret that. But you know what? So be it. The stretch goal box right now, just for the base game alone, is what we used. We still haven't gone through all of those with any sort of iteration, any sort of scheme or planning. It's just that the only downside, again, is some of those heroes are just blah. Some of those heroes are just not as good. The villains are all tremendous. It's like they put all of their time and effort in the stretch goals, especially on the villain side of things, and they just kind of did the hero side of things. But anyway, this game is going to be staying in my collection. I was worried after we played it like 25 times in the first like 2 or 3 months that it was going to burn out. And yeah, we haven't played it a ton since, but when we play it, it's a lot of fun. It's easy to set up and tear down. You can play a couple times in a row in an hour and a half, and it's great. So it's not going anywhere anytime soon in my collection. Although I actually traded a few of the expansions, but that's okay because some of the expansions, again, I didn't think were worth it, and I'm getting other expansions to make up for that. So it doesn't really matter, right? Boom, got plenty either way. So that's number 2. So what's number 1? Number 1, you guys have heard me hyping it. You guys have heard me talking about it, and my review is going to be out sometime later this month. I'm really having a tough time wrapping the bow on this one. But that's Exceed. This is the Blaze Blue. This one with Blaze Blue, and this is going to be what, the Noel box, and then we have the Jin box here. I have used the Noel box more than the Jin box, and I believe I was this guy right here, which is a super long range. I can't remember the names. I'm horrible with names. And then I was this guy, which is like all like math infinity, like calculus derived attacks and stuff, which is really cool. This guy's super long range and super fast, so I really got along with him as well. And then this guy was really weird. My wife tried him. We did not like him at all, and we used more of these two, which we both preferred these two as well. But it's not 15 minutes, but it's under 30, and it's probably, I dare say, my favorite 2-player dueling game of these ilk right now. Right now, period. Although I got 7th Cross, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, so 7th Cross is going to eventually give it a run for its money. But there's 2 other boxes of Blaze Blue that I haven't even gotten through yet or had a chance to play. And that's also why I'm a little bit slow on my review. Is like, do I review one box at a time? Do I review a couple boxes at a time? Do I group them together? Do I group Exceed as a whole? Do I group Exceed as Blaze Blue versus 7th Cross later on? How do I do that? Am I interested in Street Fighter? Not really right now, but will I get, Red Horizon or Shovel Knight eventually? Maybe. So either way, it's the game that I just can't, again, get out of my head, that I always want to go back and play. Even though I'd only want to play it like once at a time, maybe twice at a time, it's a game I just always want to come back to night after night when we have 30 minutes to play something. It comes up a lot, as much as my wife is not necessarily the biggest fan of, because it's a little bit more complex again for her. But once we, play it a couple times, she's a little bit more into it, and she actually does know what she's doing. She just likes to pretend she doesn't sometimes, and she still almost beats me every single time. So anyway, that is why it's number 1. Wow, this video went on a lot longer than I was planning. I didn't think I was going to talk about nearly as much on the Kickstarter side of things, but the next one for December is going to be relatively shorter. And I have a secret video that I'm going to be doing for other things in the next month or so that, again, I don't want to spoil, because I feel like whenever I announce one of those things, it's going to get like stolen from somebody else, because I've got like one super, super good, great idea concept. It's just how I want to break it down and how I want to discuss it and what aspects I want to do. So spoilers, but no spoilers. I'm sorry, I can't tell you. It really is that good. I don't mean to tease you, but it's something that you'll have opinions on, and it'll be relevant, and it'll definitely generate conversation. So there's that. Other than that, reviews this past week. So check out my reviews. Check out my thoughts on, brief games, small size games. I've got a couple coming up from the OP games. They sent me some stuff. Harry Potter, Kingdom Hearts Perilous Pursuit, and the Cuphead game. The Cuphead game. That's going to be, let me tell you about that. That is going to be an interesting review. If you want to hear about interesting reviews, that's going to be my most interesting one that I've done in a long time. I'll just tell you right now. So there you go. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe. That's all I got. Whatever. I don't care. You guys are already subscribed if you're watching this, but thank you. I appreciate it. That's all I got. Too long anyway. Have a great day. Stay classy. See you around. Blue light! That's all I got. That's all I got? That's all I got. That's all I got. Or am I going to say something else here at the end? I don't have anything clever today. I'm binging Demon Slayer on Netflix right now. It's a good show. I got nothing else to watch. In that case, is not actually a bad deal.